project. So any project we're doing is basically to uplift our community. So community participation is very important, in the process of development. Like I have said, community is the heartbeat of any nation. Any project that you want to conceptualize, you want to implement, it must occur within a community. We talk about nation community, we talk about town community, we talk about city community and all that. All this is all about human beings that dwell in a given society. So community participation involves planning, integration of all the stakeholders and collaboration as well. But these have to be conducted in a systematic approach. This will enable us to have a decisive decision to make that is more harmonious in terms of comprising all the complex problem and need in order to achieve a common goal. So that's what community is all about. Just this is a recap of what we have discussed before. So development, like we all have witnessed through the series of sections we have shared, is all about overall economic and social growth, and as well the capacity of the both hard and software and soft infrastructure in a given society. So it's all about the policies that involve when you talk about the soft infrastructure in a given society. It's all about the cultural orientation. It's all about the architecture of the policies, government regulations, and all that. And as well, you talk about hard infrastructure. It's all about the built environment creation in terms of the schools, the airport, the infrastructure, like the video we watch about India, and through that video, we have seen that most advanced country, prosper as a result of hard infrastructure, and not just hard infrastructure, but as well as the policy behind those hard infrastructure, because hard infrastructure is a major catalyst to disburse money in the society in order to inject money and create enable environment for social and economic well-being of any given society. Okay, so it's all about the development. It's all about the overall economic and social well-being and growth and development and capacity development of any given nation based on the soft infrastructure in place, which is policy, which is a cultural orientation, which is the rules and regulations, the rule of law and all that. All these are what I term soft infrastructure. Then we talk about hard infrastructure. Is all that we can see around us: the road, the schools, the hospitals, the social amenities, the electricity infrastructure, and many other aspects. Airport. All these are infrastructure that help us, agricultural infrastructure that help us to farm, feed the nation and all that. So we can see over here, unfortunately, I don't know what happened here, but we can see these are infrastructures. We can see infrastructures, but I guess when I send you to this, you'll be able to see all the infrastructures in various sectors that enable community to function effectively. Okay, so the built environment infrastructure consists of all the artificial, built and physical infrastructure formed or constructed by mankind in any given society. So like I have said before, it's all about overall economic and social well-being of a given society. All right. So the built environment sector and its infrastructure is regarded as one of the major indicators, like we have seen in those videos we have played, especially the mega cities video watch, and as well the video watch about all the videos we have watched is all about infrastructure. Watch videos on special economic zones. All these are part of infrastructure, built environment infrastructure. So this is one of the fundamental indicator to measure how advanced a state or a country has been in terms of the economic development and as well. So these are very important. So it's regarded as one of the major, kind of a state of economy. If you want to measure some of the economy, like South Africa actually regarded as one of the advanced and diverse economy in Africa as a result of, you know, adequate infrastructure in place. If you go across Africa, South Africa is even across the world, even the so-called advanced country. But when you compare the level of infrastructure in South Africa in terms of the road network, in terms of the, despite the challenges of electricity, but you can see South Africa in terms of the structure in place. See South Africa occasionally at pace other so-called advanced countries in Europe. Some of the many countries in Europe, their infrastructure is not to what you can see in South Africa. People have traveled and they can attest to this. When they come to South Africa, they are marveled by the level of infrastructure in place here, especially in the cities. All right. So, however, housing is one of the most foremost challenge facing South Africa in terms of housing. But again, this housing backlog have estimated around 2 million units. But we're focusing mainly on RDP house. But when you talk about skyscrapers and all that, but again, the nation have grown. So these are still one of the challenges. So they have deficit of 1.5 million houses in the 1994. But again, the vital activity of reconstruction and development program, which popularly known as RDP housing, is ongoing. And today, the current government have built many, but again, there's a challenge in terms of the quality as well. So we're going to be discussing all that today in a brief level. So the construction project failed, among the RDP housing and the mega infrastructure project fails as well, is on the rise as a result of financial and technical skills and capacity constraint. And when you talk about infrastructure, mega infrastructure failing, it's not peculiar to South Africa or Africa, it's across the world. So the world is facing this financial crisis, the one they faced in 2008 and thereabout. And as well, technical skills has been a challenge, across the world, even in the so-called advanced country and as well developing countries. So these are one of the major challenges, despite the inroad of advanced technology. But again, like I always say, technical skill is still needed to make sure that those infrastructure, advanced technology are being integrated in a more useful manner going forward. Therefore, the process and activities that are needed to create a sustainable and competitive built environment is complex and challenging in nature. And as such, systematic development approach must be sought. So these are very important. How do we tackle these challenges? The challenges of poor quality, the challenges of financial financial crisis, the challenges of technical, challenges and all that, and capacity constraint in order to adequately deliver competitive, built environment product. It's become complex in nature, and systematic approach need to be developed in order to conquer these challenges. Okay. So these are the various types of built environment infrastructure development for our community service. So without this infrastructure, life not gonna be all that easy for people that dwell in any given society. So look at the residential blocks or infrastructure. This comprises the houses, the apartment blocks, the townhouse, the low income housing. So this basically focus on the residential infrastructure. We talk about commercial infrastructure, which involve of private commerce, trade and services such as office block. Please mute your mic. Office block, shopping centers, malls, warehouse, bank, high-rise, hotel, and resorts. So we talk about industrial infrastructure, which are used for larger storage, production such as chemicals, power plant, manufacturing plant, telecommunication assets, refineries and seaport. So talk about heavy civil construction infrastructure, which involve the roads or the transportation infrastructure. So these are what make the service. These are what create enable environment for our communities. And when this fail, it becomes a big challenge for us to function. So institutional infrastructures, in terms of the government buildings, in terms of schools, universities, hospital, public library, public recreation park and centers, police station, government buildings, beautification of our environment, landscaping. These are very important aspects to give a healthy atmosphere, and as well to enhance the beauty of the place, which in a way affect our psychological well-being as well. So all these are conscious efforts to develop a society. Agricultural infrastructure, these are very important. Recently we've seen what has happened, and it's very important for us to, food security is very important, water is very important. So all these are areas in which, in terms of built environment, in which we can play a major role, and we ensure that projects are not failed when they're initiated in these areas. So environmental construction as well, it is part and parcel of the heavy engineering construction, such as the water, wastewater treatment plant, and the storm sewers, and the solid waste management and air pollution control. So all these are part and parcel of infrastructure within the built environment that help to provide services to the community. And once any of these fail, it's kind of the ripple effect always cascade to other aspects of our life activities. So we can see our construction infrastructure project, fail at alarming rate, rate across the world. We have seen project not only in Africa but across the world. Project has been failing, and when we talk about the failed development or infrastructure project, usually defined as a project that could not meet its required obligations and specifications. So what are those specifications and obligations when a project is being initiated? You talk about to construct a project within the budgeted costs. We have seen across the world, more especially in Africa, we have seen in unreasonable high cost overrun in our project. And we're going to be giving some example today, which is a classic example. I like using that example, but it's not based on research, but it's based on desktop research, kind of. We're going to be talking about Eskom, Medupi Power Plant construction, design and construction, to look at what might have caused or trigger the high cost overrun. As well, to talk about time overrun is one of the major challenges. If a project could not be delivered within the scheduled time, that means the project have failed, because projects have a definite start time and a definite stop time before the project commences. So if project could not be delivered within that confine of time frame, that means that project have failed, because again, if that project exceeds the time which has been scheduled, that means the project is incurring more costs, and that will as well reflect on what they call cost overrun. As well as the quality problem we have seen, more especially not only in RDP house, but across the country, we have witnessed, across the world, not only in South Africa, not only in Africa, but across the world, there has been a quality problem that even when a project